Welcome back. Great turnout. It's a full crew and wonderful to see you in this brand new month, brand new week. Did you ever read War and Peace? I did. It was quite a slog, very challenging, but wonderful. Very glad I did. To me, Tolstoy really summed it up. Seriously, calling your book War and Peace. That's the history, the story of the earth, the planet, our history, our individual lives, war and peace. And back and forth we go. And this then brings a lot of world scriptures to borrow from, but this is the one that popped into my head. So it must have popped into your head as well. But it's blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. What's it mean to be called something? That means it's your name. And in many of the world scriptures, your name is more than just a moniker. It's more than just a label. It's who you are. It's your absolute nature and character. So to be called the children of God means you are in nature and in character the children of God. What's it mean to be a child of God? The skeptic or the cynic yells from the back of the audience. That's just a bunch of superstitious hogwash, but to be a child of God, I think resonates with us because it means that's our true nature and our character. But it also, when you're the child of someone, you are in line to inherit. You're next in line. And so if we are called the children of God because we're peacemakers, legitimate peacemakers, it's more than just a label. It's not just something that's pasted on. It means we inherit that. We're next in line. That's in our future. That's going to unfold for us. That's our destiny to be children of God. And what does that mean? That's worth finding out, isn't it? But first we have to be peacemakers. But there's so much war in the world, obviously. How do we go out there and make all the wars stop? Perhaps to be a peacemaker, the one place we all have to start, and no one's immune, and no one is above this, is to quell the war that's going on inside of us. And now, this is not to say we can't do everything in our human power to go out there and bring peace to the outer conflicts, of which there are many. But unless we are participating in the cultivation of peace inside of ourselves, we can't transmit something that we don't have. So it seems as though we're always being called upon to be harbingers of peace. And to me, it brings up the question, how much peace can you really have in your life? Is it a variable? This very day, could it be a more peaceful day or a more warring sort of day? And isn't that what we all look at every single day? Because inside of ourselves, war and peace is going to be going on. It's always a battlefield, isn't it? That's the whole Bhagavad Gita, the Indian Bible. That's this unusual, paradoxical, strange, and mystical book of the spiritual hero in the book, Arjun, doesn't want to fight. And his spiritual guide, who is no one less than Krishna, says, no, get off your ass, Arjun, you must fight. But the spiritual reading of that book means this is what Gandhi thought. He thought it meant we must be peacemakers on the inside, face the war that's going on the inside every single day and bring peace. And blessed are the peacemakers. And I'll do my best today. I trust you'll do your best to be a peacemaker. And where can we bring peace? Interaction with the family, interaction with the coworker, interaction with the kids, interaction with the people in our neighborhood. There's so many opportunities to be a peacemaker, and we'll work on it Anyway, I'll see you all tomorrow. It's going to be a great week of information, insight, and peace. And blessed are the peacemakers. Thanks, you guys. 2 days in a row without the cat. Hey, welcome back. It seems to me like the Earth as a planet has never been an altogether peaceful place. We do have a violent origin and background. We might imagine the Earth when it was still mostly molten, circling the sun. What a violent place it must have been. And then when it began to cool a little bit, the latest science says that another large heavenly body, perhaps a chunk of another planet or an asteroid, hit the Earth with such violence that it split off a large enough chunk that became that peaceful thing in the sky last night, the full moon. But it wasn't always that way. That was a very violent happening. And then it's been violence and energetic eruptions ever since, including eruptions. I was reading last night about the Toba volcano 75,000 years ago. It's the most powerful volcanic event that we know about, that we've identified. But that was 75,000 years ago. It was the equivalent of 10,000 Mount St. Helens explosions all at once. So that's inconceivable, isn't it? It bottlenecked the humans were around in a particular form, but it created such a long nuclear winter that we can all trace our DNA lineage to a bottleneck of about 75,000 years ago, where the human race just about didn't make it. But fortunately, some very hardy souls did. And of course, this continues with up to the present day. Now we look around and something's always moving. If you look at Earth from outer space, those beautiful first pictures of the blue marble hanging in space, it looks so incredibly peaceful. But if you look closely, there's clouds moving all over the place. And there's always those occasional circular clouds, right? The vortices that are moving. And then, of course, we know about this time of year in the Midwest, we're getting into tornado season because the cold air from the north is running into the warm air coming up from the south, especially in the United States. The United States is Tornado Alley. There are tornadoes in every part of the world, but the United States is known for their tornadoes because of the broad plains where the warm air meets the cool air. And when these two opposing forces run into each other, it creates a vortex. And every tornado is the most peaceful air in the world that simply got agitated and began to run into each other. So the earth is filled with not peace, obviously. And now you add humans to the mix, and the story of human history, essentially, if you really take a look at it, is the story of one war after the next and various strategies to quell it. World War I, League of Nations; World War II, the United Nations. And here we are today. I remind us of the beatitude we're looking at this week. Blessed are the peacemakers. Here's an interesting thought in that phrase. Blessed are the peacemakers. Note carefully, it doesn't say, blessed are the peaceful. There's a giant difference between blessed are the peaceful and blessed are the peacemakers. The peacemakers are called the children of God. It does not say blessed are the peaceful. Now, what does peacemaker means? It means that those who look into warfare, violence, and struggle and make peace in the midst of that's different than a peaceful person. Blessed are those who make peace. How do we make peace? We look at all the violence, the turmoil, the vortices, the tornadoes, the cyclones, the volcanoes, the eruptions, and the warfare, and we make peace. How do we do that? We meditate. The only way we're going to bring peace to the world is by getting still ourselves. And of course, who wants to do that? I don't want to do that. When it comes to making peace, you go first, not me. I'll wait for you to go first. But of course, this is not the injunction. This is not the beatitude. Blessed are those who make peace inside of themselves first. Then perhaps you can have the beginning of the expectation that the earth might then become a peaceful place. In the meantime, we'll continue our 4 to 5 billion year amusing, tragic experiment in warfare and violence. But fortunately, every person that meditates goes inside and quells the tornado, quells the violence, quells the intolerance, quells their own inner critic, is doing something actually tangibly real to make peace on earth. And then we might appropriately be called the children of God. Until then, we'll probably continue to be called the children of chaos. But fortunately, we're giving it a go today, and I'm grateful that you guys are doing it with me because I could never do it alone. Okay, my friends, I'll see you all tomorrow. Welcome back. Hey, you, good to see you. You've been absent for a couple of days. He's been very busy, loves these early mornings where the sun comes up early. That'll be going away after the weekend with daylight savings time. Anyway, the topic this week is blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Seems a appropriate topic for ourselves in our current state of affairs, and it's interesting to examine. Anyway, I'm sure you can relate to this. If you ever watch any kind of video in any of your media platforms, the algorithm instantly spots it, and then that's all you get. If you look on any topic, it'll feed you more. It's smart. It's designed that way to get us hooked, get us addicted, because we seem to be creatures that are prone and vulnerable to addictive tendencies. You got to love that about us humans. I could build that into this topic today, in fact. But in the meantime, I saw a little short video of Christopher Hitchens, who I always enjoyed listening to for his erudite, sophisticated, hilarious, acerbic capacity to speak. And of course, he wasn't an atheist. He was a strident anti-theist. He wasn't just an atheist. He was a strident, virulent anti-theist. And it was just fun to listen to him. It's fun to listen to that camp of thinker, but boy, was he 100% committed. And then because I listened to one of those and laughed, and I also got one from our good friend, Carl Sagan, who was also in that camp. And anyway, as I was watching the Carl Sagan one, he was using his sort of well-known, he was in a debate with a devout somebody or other, and he was going, do you realize we live on a very nondescript planet in a very average, mediocre solar system in the spiral arm of a completely run-of-the-mill galaxy in a field of galaxies that are now identified in a total of 100 billion galaxies. And to think that we humans here on Earth have access or knowledge of blah, 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 blah. I listened to that one, and boy, on the surface, that's a very compelling argument. It's enough to make somebody who's on the fence or who's not a terribly sophisticated thinker, like, begin to think, yeah, he's probably right. But there's so many problems with that argument that it's almost embarrassing. But anyway, that's not the topic today. And so then I got fed another video, and this guy was basically saying some of the best people in human history have been atheists, and any God that would send those people to hell is a God that if I do happen, he was a strident atheist, and he says, if I do happen to die and I do go to hell, then if I happen to see God on the way, I'm going to tell God to go to hell, because any God that would make hell is not a God worth having. Familiar with that argument? So these are the states of mind of those of people who are antagonistic, and they have antipathy toward the idea of God. And there's merit to this argument. Why is there evil in the universe? Why is there warfare going on right now in the world, when, if there was a God, why doesn't God just sweep in and just clean it all up? God, as we shake our fist at God and say, God, come down here right now and clean all of this up, because puppies and kitties are being killed and innocent people are suffering. How could any God allow that? Now, the question of why there is evil, now that's a sophisticated question, and I think it does require wrestling in our own minds, and there's no simple answer to it. But in this week where we discuss becoming a peacemaker, why doesn't God just make everything peaceful? And perhaps one way to think of this is, if my mom had kept tying my shoe for me when I was learning how to tie my shoe, I never would have learned how to tie my shoe. And that's the case for all of us. Maybe God, rather than coming down here and fixing everything, so to speak, in a simplistic way to put it, just God would like some help down here. God would like some peacemakers. If God were to sweep in and fix everything, then we would never learn to be peacemakers ourselves. Maybe in our growth and maturation as spiritual beings, we need to visit various training grounds that are, how shall we say, less than perfectly peaceful, and learn how to bring peace to those situations. If we never do that, then we'll never rise up to these higher planes of existence where obviously God occupies. And you know what? I really do think God could sweep down in a moment and fix everything, but God loves us too much to do that and wants us to grow into the necessary peacemakers and ambassadors of peace that we are designed to be, because otherwise we'll never really grow in the image and likeness of God as we are truly made. So careful on what you watch on social media. That algorithm will get you. It will make you wrestle with your mind. And remember, those who achieve spiritual maturation are always wrestling. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Welcome back. My cat has pounced on me several times because there was a mosquito hawk over there, and he had to go check it out and then come back. And every time 20 pounds, it's more than 20 pounds when it jumps up on you and lands on you. I could ask AI what the hydraulic leverage and weight of a 20-pound cat landing on you several times is. But anyway, I've been pummeled into submission here. I've been pummeled into peace. I've been beaten into reasonableness. Anyway, why is it that we are called upon to be peacemakers? Why is it that here's what it says: we are blessed. Blessed are the peacemakers. And so it's a highly fortunate and beneficial situation to be called upon and to become a peacemaker. And why is that? As I was trying to figure out or think about or contemplate or meditate upon that very thought, why is it blessed? Why are we called upon to be a peacemaker in a world that is less than peaceful? I remembered that I'd already thought about it previously, and then my cat jumped on me, and then I realized, why not just read this real quick? And this will conclude our week. And boy, do I look forward to talking to you tomorrow about how you are blessed to be a peacemaker in this crazy, mixed up world. By the way, I'm going to use the name Jesus as the avatar here. Feel free to plug in your avatar of choice if you'd like, of course. Here we go. I think I can read this in 3 minutes. Ready? Are you ready? So Jesus is walking back down the road after a long day sermoning on the mount, so to speak. As usual, the road is lined with the curious, the skeptical, and of course, those with calamitous conditions wishing to be healed. A leper approaches Jesus and begs to be healed. Jesus, per his custom, puts his hands on the man's body, feels deeply into his soul to find the cause of his malady, and then asks, "Do you sincerely wish to be healed?" The man cries, "Yes." So Jesus instantly heals him and moves on. Just another day at the office, thinks Jesus, avatar of choice. Jesus continues down the road. It's been a very long day healing people, and he's hungry and getting a little irritable. Can you imagine Jesus getting hungry, angry, lonely, and tired? A woman rushes up to Jesus with a severely injured baby in her arms and shrieks, "Lord, my baby has been struck by a carriage. He is shattered and not breathing. Please heal him." Jesus pauses, puts his hands on the baby, assesses the karmic implications, says the prayer, and the baby is instantly healed. Jesus thinks, "I am done for this day. I want some milk and honey," and begins to walk faster down the road, almost to town. Just before arriving back at his current abode, an especially demanding young man, probably me in a previous life, jumps in front of Jesus, falls to his knees, and pleads, "I am dying, Lord. The very devil himself has my soul. Please heal me." Jesus first looks the man over and sees that he has no outward signs of deformity, disease, or affliction. "What is your difficulty, my son?" Jesus asks. The man says, "I'm filled with jealousy, grief, and rage. My wife has had an affair, lied to me, and left me for another man. She also left me with our only child. Our lives are ruined. My heart is eternally broken. Forgive me, Lord. I so want to kill her and dream of savagely torturing her lover." Jesus listens patiently, reasonably patiently. He's getting more and more hungry by the moment, and puts his hands on the man's body to feel the condition of his soul, and asks the man, "Do you sincerely want to be healed of this condition, tormenting your soul once and forever?" The man cries, "Yes, I cannot live in this condition any longer." Jesus pauses, feels more deeply into his soul, and finally says, "I could easily heal you instantly, but I'm not going to," and begins to move on. "Why are you not healing me, Lord? I have watched you, and you've healed every sufferer I've ever seen ask you. Have I not prophesied in your name?" "3 reasons," says Jesus. "First, if I heal you instantly of your current affliction, the pattern of your soul indicates this is only going to keep happening to you over and over again. Instantly healing you of your current malady would only be superficial. I would be robbing you of one of the greatest learning experiences of your life, and as you might imagine, stealing is not my thing. Second, if you survive this hell and allow the fire to burn this evil from you, and genuinely heal to the depth of your soul, you'll be able to help heal others of this terrible affliction in the future. If I heal you instantly, you'll develop no such ability. Last, I could really use some help on earth with all this healing business. It was never meant for one person to do all the work, and I'm assigning you the task of learning how to heal rather than to be healed. I know this sucks, but you'll thank me in the long run. Trust me. Now, please, if you don't mind, there's a pie waiting for me, and even the Lord needeth a treat from time to time." So, blessed are we peacemakers and the battles that we have to face, because we're moving up the scale, the trainee scale, from trainee healer to world-class healer. Anyway, let's talk tomorrow. Tell me what you think of this. And Looney says, have a beautiful Thursday. See you guys tomorrow.